What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So, as I said, we're coming back with a lot of content this year because 2026 is getting off to a hot start in hip hop. We got a lot of exciting projects coming out. The J. Cole rollout coming out. Um, French Montana and Max B had a hot mixtape that came out a couple of weeks ago, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But tonight, I'm going to get back to a pretty, um, I would say, anticipated album from one ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky really is one of the name hip hop artists from the 2010s, one of the leaders in the new school, that whole era. People say that he's top 10, top 15, top whatever of his generation of the 2010s, which is debatable. However, he dropped his album Don't Be Dumb last week. First album in I believe about 8 years. I want to say 2018 or 2017 was his last project. Um, and it's got a lot of buzz. It's got a lot of attention around it. A lot of people were looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Of course, he's of Rihanna fame. They've been together and been a couple for, I don't know, 10 years now. Maybe a little bit shorter than that, maybe like 8, 9 years or whatever. Had 3 kids together. And of course, there is I guess animosity from certain rappers because he's with that iconic lady in Rihanna, iconic artist in Rihanna, billionaire Rihanna, which we're actually going to get to in a little bit about the animosity towards him and the little beef, if you will, between him and none other than Drake, who's always in the news for whatever reason, always in the news. So we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna talk about what I like, what I didn't like, and we're gonna break it down in the end. So let's pull up the track list and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's go. ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb. Okay, so what did I like? I like the creativity in this. He made an album that had a lot of the standard, modern day kind of trap tempos on some of these songs. Had some bangers on here. I'll get to the tracks that I dig in a minute. But I like the creativity on here. He's got some jazz on here. He's got some alt rock on here. He's got a couple of songs that are kind of different, I don't know, like kind of a dubstep beat, you know what I mean? So and he's got a lot of he's got some down tempo joints, some joints that are kind of trippy, like kind of tripped out, like kind of acid rap kind of. So he he's got a lot on here. I like the creativity on here, but I'm going to contradict myself when I talk about some of the things that I didn't like. I liked his flows on here. I liked his energy. He had some swag. He had some braggadocio on here. It seemed like he had a different flow on every song, just about, you know what I mean, and a different vibe on every song. I like some of the features on here. I think the song with Doechii was really good. It's really a record, and that record kind of grew on me because it's kind of a down tempo jazz beat. They're basically rapping over jazz, But I listened to it again, and she really brought a lot of energy to that record. So I do like the features on here. I like Fish and Steak. It is what it is. I like the features on there with ASAP Rocky, Tyler the Creator on there. Tyler Creator, he does his thing on that one. And I like the joint with Boss Man D-Lo, Sauce Walker. They did their thing on here. You know what I mean? Sauce Walker, very underrated rapper. Brent Fires had a nice accompaniment with an R&B track, so I do like the features on here. Um, and I like his flows. I like his energy. So I'll say that was dope. What I didn't like, it was kind of all over the place. It really didn't have a focus that I really got into. Like, I really, he was saying a lot of things. Like, he had a song "Stop Snitching," which tells a story about some dude snitching in the streets, which is a um, played out, story, if you will. Some of the bangers on here, I don't want to say sound dated, but they're done before. You know what I mean? Even though I like some of these songs like Order and Protection and uh Order of Protection, um, Helicopter, some of these joints were bangers. It was kind of been there, done that. You know what I mean? But that's his style. Rocky was always known for mixing, sort of a down south kind of Texas type of swag, you know what I mean, to his rap. But he was from, New York, you know what I mean? I think Rocky's from Uptown, I want to say. I think he's from Harlem or Manhattan or whatever. And also he can do boom bap. You know what I mean? He's rapped before with Nas. He's uh, the famous song, a famous collab song. I think it's called A Train. I want to say it was off of his debut album. It's classic. So he can do multiple styles. A very versatile artist. But album kind of didn't really go anywhere. Some of the songs were kind of songs that sounded like, it's been there, done that. He could even pull that out from, a couple of years ago, but the songs did bang. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. And the album was kind of just all over the place. Like, he tried to do a little bit too much with the alternative hip hop stuff. Even though I like some of the risks that he took, you know what I mean, with the jazz record and the alt rock record. So some of the tracks that I liked, I think it started off strong. Order of Protection, Helicopter, and Stole Your Flow. Now, on Stole Your Flow, he does take shots at Drake. You know what I mean? He does basically throw it out there about, I stole your chick, you stole my flow, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let y'all listen to it. But it's a catchy joint. I think that's probably the joint that's going to get the most radio play. Um, I say Player and Stay Here for Life are kind of good vibe records. And believe it or not, Punk Rocky, which is a single, which is the alt rock record, I actually like that song. It actually takes me back to like has a good like early 2010s, 2000s type of rock vibe to it. I like it. It's smooth. Um, it's kind of got like a story feel to it. I like it. You know what I mean? Some people say it's whack. I don't. I mean, I'm a older rock fan. You know what I mean? I was into rock back in the '90s, early 2000s. After 2010s, I kind of zoned out on rock, but dope record, and it was a risk. It's a risk, definitely. Actually, Robbery with Doechii. That's the track that really grew on me. Even though he's just rapping over jazz, it's just straight jazz. So that was pretty good. And I'll say Fish and Steak, what it is with Tyler the Creator, definitely were tracks that I did like. Some of the tracks that were kind of lost me. Air Force, That was kind of weird, you know what I mean? Uh I think Shut the Fuck Up, really didn't feel that one. That was kind of all over the place. Don't Be Dumb, Trip Baby, and the end, they were kind of a little bit left. You know what I mean? I know Don't Be Dumb, Trip Baby was kind of left. It's kind of trying to do too much on that one. So he has some forgettable tracks on here, definitely. It's a little bit long. He just added 4 more joints. I added 2 more joints. It was actually 17 at first. Now it's up to 19 tracks. And apparently he's adding more tomorrow. A little bit long. Tried to do a little bit too much on there, you know what I mean? But wasn't bad. Not a bad project at all. So what are we gonna rate this project? Let's get to it. So lyrics, I'll go with an even 7 or so. The lyrics really didn't wow you. Um, you know, some of the features like Tyler did his thing on here were pretty good, but it's not really an album you go for lyrics. But lyrics were coherent, told a story. You know, he did his thing. He had some bangers on there where you got what he was saying. He was to the point. So I dig that. Production, I would probably go with another 7. Some of the songs, like I said, were kind of all over the place. Kind of a little bit too many, a little bit other, like, trippy acid rap type songs I could have done without. But he had some bangers on here, even though those beats were a little bit older, but they still bang though. They still were some joints that you could bang in the whip, definitely. Flows and energy, I got to give him an 8.5 on that one. I definitely would think that that was his strong point on his album, was his flows and his versatility, flow wise and braggadocio wise on here. So I did like that. Features were pretty solid. I go with a 7 on that one. Some features I could have done without. Like, I don't know why West Side Gun was on here, but it was straight. You know what I mean? And replay value, I'm probably going around like maybe a 6 or so. This is an album, even though he's trying to be creative on here. I mean, it's kind of the standard A$AP Rocky album. A$AP Rocky does a lot of things and is very versatile on this project, going back to the days of Fashion Killer, off his debut joint. But still pretty solid nonetheless. But I don't know if I'm going to be listening to this later on in the year. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of dope tracks to come out this year, a lot of dope albums. So I give it an even 6. And overall, I'm gonna go with, you know what? I'll give it an even 7. I'll give it an even 7. Solid project. I don't think it deserves the hype it's getting. Chances are it's probably gonna go number 1. Maybe not number 1, but I think he's slated to sell over 120,000 the first week, which is pretty good. I just think it didn't really have too much of a direction. It kind of went all over the place. But he had some moments on here. He had some moments on there that I really dug on here. And even though he tried to do too much, on here, I just like the fact that he's stepping out and doing something creative. He's not doing something that everybody else is doing. I like the rock song was a risk. The acid jazz song was a risk with Doechii. Like, I like that. I want to see creativity. I want to see hip hop go in that direction. And so this is kind of like a very eclectic album, if you will, where with a lot of subgenres on here, but and he could have pulled it off better, but still a solid project. I'm gonna go with a straight 7 out of 10 on this one. So definitely check that out. I don't think it's gonna be in the album of the year talk, but the way that people are pumping this album up, it may be in the album of the year talk because it's getting a lot of buzz online. A lot of buzz online. So I definitely would check that out. ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb. I'm going with a 7 out of 10. Now let's get to the controversy. So as you know, Drake and ASAP Rocky don't exactly get along. They've been having a long-standing beef. Drake addressed him on Family Matters, and he had some clever bars coming at, yeah, I heard you rap, but guess what? It's still mid. Go back to doing fashion, blah, 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 or what have you, which a lot of people said he bodied ASAP Rocky over that. But I got to admit, ASAP took some shots back on here. He made a catchy song on here, Stole Your Flow, which is going to get radio play, going to get burned. So kind of taking his shots at Drake, talking about, you stole my flow, I stole your chick, blah, 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 all of that. So ASAP had a little bit of get back on here. But what really was interesting is, and this is what I like, is ASAP is doing the rollout circuit. What I mean by the rollout circuit is he's doing all the name pods. He's doing Joe Budden podcast. He actually is doing an interview with DJ Academics that's going to drop pretty soon, which he kind of puts Academics in his place with the whole Drake shit. I mean, definitely check that out because he kind of calls Academics out for jocking Drake a little bit too much. So I want to see that interview in full to get the context. He also did the Ebro podcast as well. And on Ebro podcast, Ebro directly asked him about the whole Drake situation. And I'm going to pull that up because he had some comments to say about that. And we are going to talk about it as soon as I get this rolling. Okay.
I'm kind of asking this as I want to know the inside.
Please do.
Is there really an issue, or is this wrestling where y'all are trolling us and rage baiting people to comment on the internet to promote? Like, is it a real thing, or is it just promo?
I think hip hop tactics and beefs is like WWF. It's like wrestling all the way, right? But this thing between us, it's not real smoke, but I just don't f with him. Like, right. You know what I mean? We was once friends. I feel like it's over females. I feel like he wasn't happy and he expressed that. Yeah. And I think at some certain point when everybody getting older and it's just like you're supposed to be moving on, for you to still be picking at a female and all that, that's soft to me. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't put out an album. I didn't put out music for me to really say something back, you know? And I finally did say something back to a few people. You know, it ain't just about one person. I'm talking to whoever feel like I'm talking to him, you know? And I do think that it's petty, and it's like I said, it's enough money, it's enough women, it's enough fame, spotlights to go around. You know what I mean? We're not really tripping off nothing, but is it real smoke? It could never be. Right. That ain't smoke for sure.
And
so basically, summing it up, you know, obviously the beef is over Rihanna, you know, his baby's mother or partner or fiance, whatever you want to call it. They've been together for long enough. And it stems back to Drake taking shots at Rihanna on a lot of his records. I think he was taking shots at Rihanna all the way back to Views, but taking shots at Rihanna on All for the Dogs. He had some bars on there that were pretty memorable where it's kind of like a veiled shot at Rihanna. And that's where ASAP kind of started really calling him out on some beef shit. You know what I mean? So Drake obviously called him out on Family Matters, and Rocky had his get back on this. But to the interview, this just goes to show how insecure and petty Drake really is. You know what I mean? And he brings up an interesting point about there's enough money, there's enough women in this game for us all in here. But the important point is, like, Drake's 40 years old. It's too old. You're too old to be beefing over chicks, dog. And to be, I mean, and what are you gonna say? Like, what, that that he basically took your chick from you? I mean, the more Drake addresses ASAP Rocky and addresses that, I think that makes him look weak, because it's like you're basically borderline simping over a chick that you didn't get. You know what I mean? And Drake tries to put it out there like, oh, I was the one that had her first and all that. But that's kind of pathetic, though. I mean, you really bragging about a chick that you had, what, 11, 12, 13, 15 years ago? Like, and you mad that this dude, he got her on his arm, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think Rocky, I like that clip because that's a stand-up clip. It's like, bro, we got better things to do. You're old head now. Like, get over it already. You know what I mean? And he got his little get back on there. It wasn't like a super shot, like on some Euphoria type shit on Drake, but he got his little get back. And right now, ASAP's having his moment in the sun. He's getting a lot of buzz. He's getting a lot of talk. He's kind of the talk of hip hop right now, outside of the J. Cole rollout. So I like what he's doing with that. So I just wanted to address that real quick about the petty moves of Drake that never seem to end. So anyway, ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb. Check that out. I go with a solid 7 out of 10. So solid 7 out of 10. Before I was like, it's probably like more like a 6 or so. I really won't vibe into it. But listen to some of the songs again. Solid project. I definitely would check that out. Go with a solid 7 out of 10. ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb. We're gonna try and come back with some more content this week. Actually, I'm gonna come up with another video real quick because I want to talk about this French Montana Max B record real quick. But anyway, we'll be right back with that. And I'll see y'all soon. All right, peace.